Hey, what up everyone, this is Mondo All Day, back with another video, and in this video I'll be showing you my build guide for Punisher. I use this build for me to pass Cosmic Trial. I use around 3,000 Omegas, so I'll be showing you as far as what artifacts I use, what uniques, insignia, ring, as well as where I place my power points, synergy points, and as well as my Omegas. And so let's get right into it. So the first thing I'll show you is my artifacts. So I used Crossbones Teaching Credentials. You can probably use something else, but I use this one because it gives you a lot of damage, physical damage, and obviously for the range, because he's mainly range. Not so much for the melee, but this is a decent one for him. But if you have something else that's more emphasizing on physical damage and range, it'd be perfect, but this will do for now. The next artifact is Mayhem Demon Blood, obviously for the physical damage, and +1 for fighting and speed when you do a certain amount of damage, as well as for the health. I use a Red Skull Medallion because of the brutal damage, and then I use Advanced Crimson for the physical damage rating, and then I use Kevlar Plated Helmet for the range damage, but also it gives you +3 fighting when you critically hit, so that's pretty good. For uniques, I use all of his uniques, so all of these are his uniques. Alright, you don't need any special uniques or anything. And then for the Forge, I use a 800 defense because he's a bit weak. So I use that, and then I use a blessing for it gives you 400 health, 400 defense, and +1 durability. For the ring, I use a Bloodstone Demon Band. I use it because it's for the range damage and defense rating. Not so much for the the summon because it's not really a summon, but I use it mainly for the range and defense. And then for the costume, obviously critical damage. I got the core that gives you +1 strength. And it gives you damage to range attacks, and also gives you get 400 health when you do when you hit. And for insignia, I use Hawkeye for the brutal damage rating to range powers, and also because it gives you a critical hit rating for 295 for 8 seconds. And obviously for the pets, I got this one. The one I'm using is the pet that gives you health plus ammo, damage to area power, which all of them are area. +1 to melee powers, you don't really need that, I might have to reset that. And then +2 durability. Again, he's a bit weak, so this definitely be useful, especially the durability. And then for the legendary, I use Savage Axes, because he's all physical. And then relics, this is a Terror relic. I mean, this is like, I used this back when I first started the game, I didn't know much about it, but relics, you can use some, I don't really use relics, but yeah, it gives you extra health, I guess. Alright, let's go into the power points. So the power points where I placed them is maxed out rapid reload for the passive. Okay, and then maxed out 19 for burst of fire. Maxed out rocket-propelle grenade. Maxed out headshot. That's a very good one. Maxed out obviously signature. Maxed out magnum. Maxed out pain tolerance again for the passive, and then maxed out old painless. It's a pretty good one too. Now let's do hero synergy. For the hero synergy, I use Cable for the critical chance. I use Colossus for the health and physical damage. Doom for the signature power damage, signature power damage. Very, very useful, especially for his signature. And then I use Electra for the physical damage, and then damage to bosses. Hawkeye for the speed and critical damage, 4%. Luke Cage for the the defense and physical damage. Moon Knight for the physical power, critical chance. She-Hulk for the physical damage and health regen. And then War Machine for a little bit of the ammo, but for the fighting attribute. And then Wolverine for the brutal damage. So for Omegas, again, I use roughly around 3,000. I think I went over 3,000, honestly. Maybe 3,500. But, let's just go right into it. Neural Enhancement, no one there. Arcane Attunement, nothing there. Interstellar Exploration, 1 for Earth, and then 1 for Hela for the physical attacks. Extra critical and damage rating. Hela for the base damage increase. Special weapons, since he's all range, so I use Vanquish Sniper Rifle, assault rifles, and tactical pistol, again for the range damage, and then silencers. And then focus plasma cannon
won't save them from punishment.
Fury's needle gun and Night Pistol, again This is all for the range. That way, one, it reduces the cost, range powers, and also it gives you extra damage to range powers. 2 for warpath, because for the fighting. Radioactive orange is none. Nanotechnology, 5 here for spin tech for the extra damage to bosses. Human augmentation, none. Ideally, you want to put some here, but for this, I didn't. But if you have more, you can definitely put some on for reprogram because, again, physical damage base, but I don't have enough, so. 5 for melt phase for the brutal damage, and then obviously for focus strength of Groom for that +7 strength. And Turian crystals, nothing really there, but it's mainly for this, for Terrigenesis, because he gives you +1 speed, strength, and durability. Those are definitely 3 things that he definitely needs. He needs speed, he needs strength, and durability. He's a bit weak, so I use this a lot. That's a very good one. And that's really it regarding the Omegas. Again, I use over 3,000, maybe 3,500 or something like that, give or take. But if you have 4,000, you're set. So now I'll be showing you my rotation. Let's just build this up right here. Okay. Now for the main weapon I use is burst fire. I use that when when everything else is cooldown. I use this a lot. I do have another hotbar here. We'll use number 2 is I use full auto. I use that if let's just say I'm doing enemies and there's a lot of enemies around and I want to focus on one particular. There's a lot of area. But mainly what I use for Cosmic Child is this burst fire. That way I can focus on one. Okay, so again I use burst fire a lot, so that way when everything else is cooldown I can just keep on doing damage. Alright, and then I used for A, rocket-propelle grenade, headshot for S, D's old painless, F, magnum, G, rapid reload, and then H is signature. Now, the reason why I use magnum is because it increases your damage when your ammo is below 25%. So usually what I do is, and I'll show you my rotation, but what I usually do is this. Oh, I just want to say for team up, you want to use Deadpool, because that way you can freeze your enemies and also does a range damage. Which my rotation is like this. I usually just use rocket-propelle grenade, headshot, all painless, and then I use burst fire, but while everything's in cooldown. And then if my ammo's low, then I use magnum, because it gives you that 50% increased damage when you're below ammo. So usually when I'm like around 100 or 150-ish ammo, I use magnum, and then that way I can reload, and then just do go right into my rotation. So it looks something like this. Just keep doing it. And then just reload. See, that's really it. So Punisher's he's kind of weak, but if you know how he plays, he's fairly he's fairly fun, or she's fun, because I'm using Rachel Cole. So but it's pretty easy, not that difficult. So again, rocket-propelle grenade, headshot, go to old painless, and then just keep doing burst fire. If your signature's ready, then definitely do signature. But that's really it. That's literally my rotation. That's usually what I do. And I'll just show you one more time. Literally, it's A, S, D, and then burst fire, and then once either ammo's low, or I can use another cooldown, another damage, or another whatever power. And if I'm still low on enemy and then low on ammo, I use magnum, and then reload. The good thing about magnum is that it does not use no ammo. So again, you can literally be at like almost 1. Use magnum, you get the extra damage, and on top of that, it doesn't use any spare. So in other words, you just continuously do damage. Boom, done. See, look at that. And since right now, look, 86, and all you would do is use Magnum. See, it doesn't use any ammo, and then just reload. Go right into it. And then, obviously, what you want to do signature is you want to use a signature when there's a lot of enemies around you, because this is a very powerful signature, and it does a lot of area damage. So ideally for Cosmic Trial, you want to have all the enemies around you as much as possible and then activate it. So for instance, if you were playing here, and let's just say you were playing Cosmic Trial, and then there's enemies, they're all scattered area, try to move around to where a lot of them are close to you, then use signature. Because if you do signature here, something like this, for instance, like a scenario where they're all scattered, and you use signature, you'll do damage to some. But if you try to get them all together in the kind of like this kind of scenario, then you'll do massive damage, because all you do is put it almost in the center, and it does massive damage. See? And then if you just continuously do see what I mean? And that's really it. Everything else, Deadpool, let the enemies, fight Deadpool. I would say this though, with Deadpool, you do have to move him, because what he does is, if you're fighting, Lady Hydra or Red Skull, and then he goes into that shield, my advice to you is move around. Once Deadpool is following you, go back and then either destroy that one enemy they have to destroy to eliminate that shield, and just go back at it again with the rotation. But again, that's really it. That's my rotation. If you have any questions or anything, please let me know. Again, this build is I use for Cosmic Trial, and if you have any quests for other builds or Cosmic Trial, feel free to comment. Alrighty, thanks. Bye bye.